Up, it looks like we are live. What is going on, guys? Talk to me. This is your boy NarikChase, and in this video, we are doing another head-to-head, episode 9, and we're going to be featuring three versions of one of the most iconic comic book characters of all time, the Joker. Now, each one of these have interpretations, alternate versions have just brought something interesting, new, and different, as well as unique to the portrayal of the character, offering a variety of shades to the Joker. So it's good that we get to see that. Now, who are our contestants and what films have they been in? We have Jack Nicholson, who was featured as the main bad guy in the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton that came out in 1989. Of course, we have Heath Ledger, who portrayed the Joker in The Dark Knight that came out in 2008, and then in 2016 for the Suicide Squad, we got Jared Leto playing the Joker, hopefully the official Joker for the DCEU. So these are our three contestants. Let's go ahead and get into this. What did I actually thought about them? I actually liked each one. Each one of them brought something unique to the character. They did a great job of conveying what their interpretation of the Joker was. So, to varying degrees, some are better. Each one has a strengths and has weaknesses. And I do like I said, like each one of them. Now, in terms of the actual character of the Joker, I would actually say that it's kind of hard to rate this one because each one is unique. When I look at Jack Nicholson's Joker, he has a bit more of somewhat of a mob mentality, more cartoonish. Like if you're going to go towards the animated series type Joker, he's probably the closest one to that, which of course was voiced by Mark Hamill, one of the most iconic Joker portrayals. But if there was anyone to be more towards the animated series, it would probably be him. Now, in terms of the actual dark Joker, it would be Heath Ledger. He's probably the most psychotic and the darkest versions that they've had on the screen, which does lead to a lot of people thinking him as the definitive look of the Joker. But also, I did like Jared Leto's because Jared Leto's portrayal of the character was definitely a criminal. Like he was like a crime boss. And I like that. There was a bit more style to him, but he was still psychotic. So I don't see any one of them being better than the other one because I like each one's interpretation of the character. But if we're going on with, of course, depth of character, I would say Ledger was probably the deepest, had the most to his character because he was playing a psychological game. He did had some really great moments. He had some of the best lines, and really the other two didn't. They had certain lines, but as far as like the best moments, I would definitely say Heath Ledger's the Joker was actually probably the best in terms of an actual character. Because despite him being psychotic, despite him being crazy, he did have some really interesting moments that really stuck out. Unfortunately, in terms of the character, the most misunderutilized character is Jared Leto's Joker. And it's not saying because it's a bad Joker, it's because the movie didn't give him enough. It didn't give him enough screen time. And when it comes to Jack Nicholson, like I said, I like his Joker. He's funny, but he's still a pretty serious character. But in terms of the actual character, I guess in terms of his writing and the actual character's personality, I would say I did like Heath Ledger's more. So in terms of the actual character, I'd give it to Heath Ledger. Now, in terms of the actual casting, I would actually say that all three of these guys did a fantastic job. As I've said, each one does convey a different look, a different image, a different sound, a different feeling for the Joker, and that's what makes them actually pretty cool. Is because when you look at these three guys, you get three different Jokers. So in terms of the actual casting, though, I'm I'm not really sure. I'm not sure who stands out on top. I would say this is probably the category. I would say all three of them would be like straight up equal in, because I didn't think that I didn't think anyone did a bad job. I just like each one of them did a different interpretation of the character. So I would probably say each in this one they're all about equal. And we don't like doing that on head to head, but you know me, I'm trying to be fair. I like to be fair. So in terms of the actual casting, I don't mind seeing it. Okay. Now let's look at the actual overall designs of the character. Now I'm a bit I don't want to say biased about this because I like I like the look of Jack Nicholson's Joker. I think he has a lot of fun. You can tell Jack Nicholson's having a lot of fun with the role, and I like his character. And I like his character, but at the same time, I feel like overall design is like they went with, yes, they went with the Joker, the typical Joker look, and he maintains it and looks pretty cool. So he actually, as far as the source material goes, I would say he's probably the one that fits the source material the best because he does look the role almost down to just about almost down to a T in terms of the way he's dressed, the way his makeup is, and everything. So there's that. I do like the look of Heath Ledger, the messy hair, the messy looking makeup. You can tell that this Joker just does not give a crap about the world, don't give a crap about himself. But which is pretty interesting because even though he has the messy makeup and the messed up teeth and the messy hair, he's got these clean clothes on, tailor made, which I thought was actually pretty cool too. But I would probably give the actual design over to Jared Leto's Joker, and let me tell you why. When they first showed him, and he had this crazy look about him, the silver teeth, the tattoos, and stuff like that, a lot of people didn't like it. But I'm like, this version of the Joker is actually a criminal. And he's like in the streets, gang criminal. And what do you see in the streets? Gangs like that. You see the people dress up the way he does. You see people, the silver and chains and stuff like that. And I like that about his portrayal of the character. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that throughout the entire movie, he kept just changing the way he dressed. And I like that. I love the tattoos because this version of the character, hands down to me, is the best because he's very diverse with the way he looks. I love the tattoos. I think that makes for a more sadistic and just a more crazy. And like I said, I just like the fact that he looks like an actual like a stereotypical criminal, like one of those hardcore Mexican guys that's with the cartels that just don't give, that's in the streets, just don't give two shits, or the dude from the hood that's just crazy and pick up a gun on the dude. So I like how diverse his portrayal of the character is throughout the entire film. And every scene seems like he's got something different. I like looking at the tattoos, the different messages that he's conveying. I think it looks pretty cool. Even with the platinum in his mouth, it just looks fucking awesome to me. Like I said, I like the other two, but I would give the actual overall design to Jared Leto. I was one of the few guys that was like, when he dropped that picture of him like screaming into the camera and he had all the tattoos and stuff, and I was like, man, that actually looks pretty cool. I know one YouTuber was like, it looked childish. I'm like, it's the fucking Joker. If you can watch the animated series and see him using boxing glove gags and stuff, and just like silly stuff, you can get away with this man having tattoos. I just, like I said, just overall, just like the overall design of Jared Leto's Joker. I think he's fucking awesome in an overall design, and I think it's very diverse. Now, in terms of the actual story and role of the Joker in each film, how would I go about doing this? In Jack Nicholson's Joker, he starts off as the Joker, like that we've seen in the comics, a criminal. Batman jumps him. he falls into this vat of chemicals, and he turns into the Joker. And then throughout the film, he's slowly taking over the mob. He's doing all types of crazy stuff in the city, which I really did like. That I really did like. Enjoy that. But he's silly about it. But he's having fun with the role, Jack Nicholson. So I like that, and it does come across as what you expect from the comic book version of the Joker. So I didn't mind that. Now, as far as the Heath Ledger, I think he's coming on. He comes on a bit more stronger because in this one he feels more. He feels more like a rival to Batman rather than just an enemy that he has to fight. No, as a rival, it feels like it's a bit more personal, which the story actually does take it there for the Dark Knight, and I really enjoyed that sense of the rivalry really stand out a lot in the story, because in this one, similar to what was going on in Batman, the 1989 Batman, Heath Ledger is just this crime dude, just wreaking havoc, doing stuff, and then he slowly basically takes over the city, by consolidating all of the gangs under his rule, and it just creating all types of just anarchy in the scene. And I like that. That is a very strong point, and it's very psychologically stimulating because of the psychological aspect of the film that gets put off with the Dark Knight. So that he's really strong. He's really strong. He's really strong. Now, in terms of Jared Leto, Jared Leto's in the Suicide Squad. This one is probably the most underutilized, but it does have a bit of weight behind it because it's a love story. In this version, this is where we get to see the origin story of Harley Quinn and Joker's relationship and how it has evolved over time and how it affects both characters. So I really enjoy that one as well. You get to see Joker is crazy in the hospital. Harley shows up trying to help him, and then she ends up getting transfixed by his charm, which I like. I like this. I like his charm. He has a lot of charisma, and I really appreciate seeing that in the character. And it's essentially a love story. So, and that's what makes it it's kind of hard to rank like the importance of the characters in the film, because between Jared Leto doesn't get as much screen time, so it isn't as fleshed out, although it is one of the most pronounced subplots in the film and the most interesting. But then we're going back towards, the Joker becoming the crime boss. But I kind of want to give it to Jack Nicholson on this, because we get to see him turn into the Joker. We get to see kind of the process more. We get to see a good process of him becoming the Joker and how he becomes this like mob boss. But at the same time, Heath Ledger's Joker, that story, just kind of up in the air. You don't really know who he is or what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. So I'm kind of stuck on this one, so I would definitely say, as far as like the actual role of the Joker in the films, I would put it between Nicholson and Ledger. Not just because it's crime, but because of the actual build-up of where it goes to and how it influences the actions of Batman and the actual citizens throughout the actual movies. Now, now, if we're going to do one other thing, I might actually say writing. And when I mean writing, I mean like what are the unique qualities of each one. As I've said before, Nicholson, he's fun. He's fun. He does kooky things. He does crazy things. There are moments where he's just completely just batshit crazy and he kills people, no problem. But there are moments where he alleviates that type of tension with a corny joke or a funny action, or you hear him laughing. So I really enjoy that aspect of his character. and he's just definitely having, like, of all the actors, of all the Jokers, you could definitely tell Nicholson's just having fun. It's probably his brightest. I mean, he's good for psychotic characters, but he definitely just nails the humor that we see with the Joker. And if there were a live action animated Joker, he would definitely be that representation. Now, and I've said it before, especially with Ledger. Ledger was a pretty dark one. He was really dark. He was very sadistic. He was really intelligent. He just didn't give two shits about a lot of things. He was really cold and calculating, and this one truly believes in that anarchy, and I like that. And even with him, he has a bit of charisma. He has a bit of know-how and skill of getting into people's heads, and as you can see, what he does. He does it with Batman a little bit. He does it with the citizens of Gotham throughout the film. He even does it to Harvey Dent, which of course he becomes Two-Face. So he does a good amount of manipulation, and I love that. He's like psychologically there, and it even goes towards when he takes over like the mob. So the guy's like a fucking strategist, like a genius, and I love seeing that about him. He's dark, but even him, he has these moments where he has some kooky lines. Again, he has the best lines of all three of them. There ain't no debating that. He has some of the best lines, but he's also the darkest one. Now, in terms of, again, Jared Leto I like him as a criminal, but not just a criminal. He feels more human to me because, yes, he has those insane tendencies like the other Jokers. He's crazy. He's smart. He's calculating, but he also, at the point, he just doesn't care. But it's easy to see he has wants. Harley Quinn, of course. Money. And I like that he is the Joker, but at the same time, they gave him a bit more. They made him a bit more of a bad guy. So I enjoyed that interpretation. Like, of all of them, he's like truly like the from the streets criminal. Like, this guy was in jail for like 40 years, and he's just like one of those Nazi skinhead guys in jail. Like, I love seeing that about his character. But I like seeing him have these like when you go back and you watch like the animated series, or if you go back and you play the Arkham games, and you see how the Joker is like a mob boss, and this is the interpretation I can see of that Joker, and that makes him feel pretty grounded to me. But in this one, I would say because of those unique qualities, each one definitely would probably be on the list. So if I were to, if I'm ranking this, and not which I am, Ledger will probably be the best one, but not just to say because his performance was the best in the Dark Knight, because he was a great Joker. But I'll say it would be Ledger, it would be Leto, and then it'd be Nicholson. Because to me, neither one of these guys are like bad performances. I think they're all fucking amazing. I really enjoy them. But I think those unique qualities for each one do place them there. And I think there is a bit more of kind of like the how much are you trying to make this a comic book, or how much you're going to throw towards making a comic book. If you're trying to make this more comic booky, then of course Jack Nicholson will be the first one. If you want to be a little bit more realistic, I would say probably Leto. It'd probably be the most realistic one. But then again, if you want to kind of meet in the middle, it'd probably be Heath Ledger. So in terms of that, I would say yes, it would be Ledger, Leto, and Nicholson. So I have reached the end of this episode of Head to Head. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know who's your favorite Joker. Now, I know a lot of people just going to be like, Leto sucks. Leto's the bad Joker, and then Ledger is going to be the best one, followed by Nicholson. But I'm like, no, give it a bit more of a critical eye first before you just say, hey, this guy's the best one, this guy sucks or anything. Like, no, just give it a bit of a critical guy a chance. Um, and, also, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. And we'll definitely catch you guys later. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. See you later.